Now let's delve into the legal intricacies surrounding the nationwide strike declared by Nigeria Labour Congress, the NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, the TUC, and others in defiance of a court order. These unions initiated the strike in response to the alleged brutalization of the NLC president, Joe Ajaero, and what they term as maltreatment of workers in Imo State. Nigeria's federal government has labeled the strike illegal, citing a court order restraining the unions from embarking on that strike. Tonight, we seek legal insight into the complexities of the situation. Our guest is leading Nigerian legal practitioner Monday Ubani. Dr. Monday Ubani joins us from Lagos. We also have Andrew Emilieze. He is the national coordinator of the All Workers Convergence and is a former chairman of TUC Oyo State chapter. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on Politics HQ.
Yeah, thank you for having us, my
brother. Dr. Ubani, how does the court order restraining the NLC and TUC from embarking on this strike, how does it influence the legality of their actions?
Yes, I think what the government have been doing recently is anytime that NLC declares intention to embark on strike, they will quickly rush to court and get a court order to restrain NLC from embarking on any strike. And of course, when there is a substantive court order that says you should not do a thing, you are prohibited from doing an act, that particular order stands and is subsisting unless it is set aside by a superior court or by the same court. So to the best of my knowledge, the present court order has not been set aside by either the court that gave that order or by any higher court. And so if you now disobey the court order as pronounced, that will be going against the order of the court and it constitutes what we call contempt of court. But there are other issues we need to discuss concerning this. One of the things I would want the court to be doing with regards to any ex parte motion that comes before it is to ask the other party to be put on notice so that you need to hear the side, the story of the other side before you can make a pronouncement, either restraining or not restraining the particular act that is being threatened and all that. That would probably create a balance. But I think that NLC is very, very angry with regards to that order because the issue that is leading to that particular calling for the strike has not been addressed. The brutalization of the NLC president, which all of us saw when he was released, that he was thoroughly beaten up by whosoever had him in custody. And the situation is, I mean, this is a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria whose rights also have been violated by that beating. That should have been a proper investigation and a pronouncement. And those who are culpable, even been arrested and dealt with. But that has not been done. And they now threaten strike, and the government now rushed to court to get a court order. So they feel that wasn't too balanced and they probably are disobeying that order. But it's not right to disobey a court order. That is what I want to say. There is a subsisting court order. That order has not been set aside by either the court that gave it or a higher court. And in the absence of that setting aside, it would be wrong to disobey a substantive court order.
All right. So are you therefore saying that the federal government of Nigeria can legitimately label the strike as it has done as illegal?
Yeah, whatever has happened is before the court. They went to court. I don't know the story they told the court. It is based upon the evidence they have adduced before the court that may have made the court now to say, okay, I'm restraining this act for now, pending the time we will hear from the other side because it is done ex parte. NLC was not put on notice before that order was made. That's what I'm trying to say. And so if they have placed a story before the court and the court believes their story and make an order, it then means there is something that was some level of substance in whatever story they have presented before the court. So they may have termed the order, the strike illegal in the light of the fact now that there has been an order restraining, any NLC people going on strike. So if you now disobey that order, whatever you are doing is clearly contrary to law and that is illegal. That is what they are saying in the circumstance. But I'm saying what the court should also do from now onwards is that anytime such a ex parte order is being sought, let it be put on, let the other party be put on notice so that I can hear the side of the story of the person that you want to restrain. That again will create some level and semblance of balance.
Interesting. What are the implications of the union or the unions defying this court order? And in your opinion, does it set a precedent for future labor disputes?
Yes, the point is that labor dispute is a bit more is a complex situation where the employer and employee, disagrees. And I have seen that when they take extreme position, it does affect the welfare of the people. It does affect, the economy generally. And most labor issues are usually resolved on the table. That's what I have seen all over the world. No matter how radical, no matter how recalcitrant any of the parties are, most of these issues, most of the time, end up on the resolution table where parties can, ventilate their grievance and then agreement reach on how to resolve it. Now, concerning this issue, what precipitated this particular problem presently was that there was a mobilization for strike or thereabout in Imo. And the man who was leading the strike was an LC president who was arrested. Now, if you have arrested him, public kept him in self-custody without debrutalization, that would have made a different story entirely. But this situation is that you took him in and then he was beaten up. How do I know? The evidence very clearly when he came out, he had swollen mouth, swollen face, and there are wounds here and there, meaning that there must have been beating that took place, and that wasn't too necessary. Why couldn't you have kept him in self-custody and probably, discuss with him on how he shouldn't do what he's doing? But beating him up in such a manner, NLC president, I feel that is an act that should be condemned. But the federal government now said, look, don't go on strike. We can resolve this issue. And they went to court and then got an order restraining you from going on strike. I think what they would have done in this circumstance is to bring an application or appeal against that order in order to set it aside, and not for them to defy the court order to go, because we're not setting a good precedent in obedience to court order. This is a judicial decision. And our take, and my take at all times, is that court order, whether rightly given or wrongly given, must be obeyed. You can only do whatever you think is necessary by going on appeal or trying to bring an emotion for it to be set aside, which has not been done in this circumstance.
Okay, so implications being, if this is a contempt of court, what implications lie ahead for the NLC and TUC leadership? Are we looking at probably arrest of these individuals in detention, probably a prison sentence, or what a fine? What are the implications for these unions?
There are procedures for that. There is from 48 and from 49, you see how to serve and follow the entire process, through before you can now begin to commit anyone, because this is a contempt outside the face of the court, is not before the face of the court. So you follow those processes of serving them contempt proceedings from 48 for disobedience to court order, and then from 49, which will now lead to a proceeding that will lead to other sentence, by the court. But as I said, there is a process. And I think that this time the lawyers of NLC and the federal government, led by the Attorney General, must look for a way to have this matter resolved, because NLC is saying indefinite strike. And we don't want a situation where this economy that is very fragile will be grounded, where workers, will not go to work and everything will, will turn upside down. We don't want such a situation. I had thought that the government would have even reached out to NLC and said, look, we must investigate and make sure that those who brutalize our NLC president is punished. That's the right thing for them to have done it. But they all kept quiet, and NLC was saying, you can't do this to our president. And without us, because it means that any other leader can also be beaten up this manner, and it's a dangerous precedent. That's why they are now saying, look, we must go on strike in order to, assure our grievance. But I think that the government should reach out. And it's my thinking, and I'm advising that the Attorney General should reach out to the lawyers of the NLC and let this matter be resolved, because it is not good for the economy of Nigeria at this time for us to embark on this indefinite strike. It's going to affect people, it's going to affect the economy, and the president himself is trying to get us out of the economic problem Nigeria is facing. Now, compounding the problem with a strike will actually cripple the economy further, and that is not too good for the country.
Okay. Some days ago, of course, a court stopped NLC TUC from that planned nationwide strike, like you said earlier. The National Industrial Court, I think, should be in Abuja, if I'm not mistaken. But can we see any sense? You've talked about the legal avenue that the trade union should have approached the court to apply to set aside that restraining order or taking some sort of due process to challenge the order. But what about, the fact that maybe the unions are embarking on some sort of civil disobedience? Can we take that into account as well?
No, so far we have a lawful society where there are rules and laws, because what leads to strike is even legal. If you feel aggrieved and all that, one of the weapons that labor union uses is strike. Strike is allowed under the law. It's a measure of protest, and it's the law that allows it. So if you now operate under the law and we're in democracy, and there is now a legal proceeding that has been undertaken in order to restrain you from doing a legal act, what you should also do is to take what you call necessary legal steps in order to set aside such and all that. That is, it's all a legal process. It's all, operating in a lawful manner. Because if we begin to allow lawlessness, and civil disobedience to occur in such a manner, we are creating a chaotic society, and we're going back to the British era, where life was very nasty and brutish, where anyone does what he feels like. No, but we now are agreeing in a civil society to assign powers to certain person by electing them to go and represent, make laws in order to create some semblance of sanity in the society where there is lawlessness. where there is law and order. But if you want to live in a lawless society, then that is where that suggestion will actually apply. But I don't think that is the intention of NLC. That's why they want to go on strike, and that is a lawful thing. But there is a restraining order. Don't do that. Then I think that the proper thing is for them to have it set aside. Then secondly, my take in all this also is that our judges must really take this into cognizance, that anytime such motions come, any ex parte motion, asking that certain action be taken against somebody who is not represented or who is not on notice, let it be said that this other person should be put on notice. So let them come to tell the court why they should not be restrained. So by hearing their own explanation and their own affidavit evidence, the court can now exercise a discretion whether to grant or not to grant. And in exercising that discretion, it will be exercised judicially, that in accordance with the law, and judiciously, taking into cognizance equity and justice and fairness in the whole thing. But hearing only one-sided story most times, and then making an order against a party who is not represented, who is not served, who is not aware of what the story of the other person is all about, is not clearly some level of fairness or level playing ground being given to parties. That's my take in all this. Yes, the NLC is wrong now to go on strike, having heard the court order. But I'm also saying that the court must also come to a situation where people will not deliberately want to refuse obeying the court order by doing certain things that are right, like putting the other parties on notice. In doing that, yes, you hear all the parties, and then you go ahead and decide the situation, either restraining them or not restraining them. But taking a decision that is only one-sided may not in any way at times create some level of confidence in the mind of the people. That is what I discover has happened here. That's why they now say we're disobeying this court order, we're going on strike, despite whatever the court has said, and that's not too healthy for the nation and for the judiciary.
Okay, Ubani, the presiding judge at the National Industrial Court, said he was persuaded by the federal government's arguments, and he said that it was within the power of the court to intervene by way of restraining order to, quote, ensure peace and tranquility, Why was he talking about ensuring peace and tranquility? It's because the counsel to the federal government, while moving the motion ex parte at the court session, said that in his plea to the court, he said it was to avert untold hardship that would be inflicted on innocent law-abiding citizens of Nigeria and their businesses. And they were referring to the fact that Labour had blocked the main entrances to the country's airports. So what do you say to that? This untold hardship that would have been inflicted on law-abiding citizens and on their businesses. And then the judge in session said, okay, I'm going to give this restraining order for now, ex parte, to prevent such untold hardship on Nigerians and for peace and tranquility to prevail.
That's the evidence of the government. and it's very sound. They are saying, look, we know what will happen if these people are allowed to go on strike. It's going to create untold hardship, and the hardship is going to be very monumental. And they present all the evidence. There has been even one that started before the strike proper, where airports were blocked and people were denied traveling and all that. That very good preponderance of evidence, very good evidence that can also, make a judge, to say, look, in this circumstance, I'm going to restrain. But I'm also saying we have not heard the side story of NLC. What is their own story? Now, after hearing from NLC, they called the now say, okay, I've heard you, I've heard the government. But I think from the preponderance of evidence given by the federal government concerning this strike you want to back up on, I think it is better you are restrained from embarking on it because you cause untold hardship. You're going to cause more problem to the economic situation in the country. But that's after hearing both parties. It makes, for fairness, it makes you to feel that you are part and parcel of the system. At least we are here. And the court now evaluated the evidence of both parties and feel that the evidence of the government is better than that of the evidence of the NLC. But hearing only one side of the government story, of course, you too also will be moved. But that is a one-sided story. I'm also saying, because I'm a citizen of this country, that we must ensure that the government of this country succeed. There are a lot of things that the government needs to do in order for us to succeed. The welfare of the people, issue of what people are craving for, development of our roads, electricity, many things that we need. And government require peace from the labor sector, from every citizen, in order for them to succeed. And we don't want anything that will truncate it. But hear the side of the story of NLC, that they have a leader whom they have elected, and probably he went to canvass for something in Imo, which was very peaceful. You have him arrested, which would have kept him in self-custody, but you have him brutalized and beaten up. I'm afraid that this is wrong. The government should have intervened at this point. Who did this? This is absolutely wrong. We cannot allow any citizen, no matter how lowly placed or highly placed, to be beaten up in such manner. And by that, by showing some level of commitment and showing that, look, this is wrong.
All right.
The labor leaders can feel that the government has shown some concern concerning this and have gotten some people arrested or dismissed from office for doing that and all that. They can feel assuaged. But nothing has been done by the government in condemning that act. No, nothing. To my own knowledge, I don't think there has been any. And I don't think it's proper for us to allow such things to continue to happen by brutalizing anything, no matter how highly placed or lowly placed. We must give respect to it. That's what I think, sir.
Wow, well, it remains to be seen. So much to unpack, but you've helped us gain a lot of clarity, Monday Ubani. So much to unpack. It remains to be seen where this will go from here and who will blink first. Thank you so very kindly for your time, Monday Ubani, respected Nigerian lawyer. We appreciate it. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Good evening.
Have a nice night.
Good night.
And viewers, that's the size of our package. Many thanks for being nice company. We have more tomorrow right here on Politics HQ, so please make it a date. My name is Kofi Bartels. Have a good night.